I'm standing in a $47 million penthouse on the Upper East Side, my hands shaking so badly I can barely grip the Steinway's fallboard. Through floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan glitters 47 stories below like scattered diamonds. Behind me, Marcus Chen, tech billionaire, third richest man under 40 in America, lies in a hospital bed that cost more than my mother's house, and he's dying. But that's not why my hands are shaking. They're shaking because his lawyer just told me that if Marcus dies in the next 6 days, I inherit everything. $4 billion, the penthouse, the companies, everything. And the only thing keeping him alive right now is me playing Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major on repeat, because apparently that's the one thing his comatose brain still responds to. The thing is, I met Marcus Chen exactly 9 days ago, and I absolutely hate him. Let me back up. My name is Sophie Castellano. I'm 28 years old, and 9 days ago I was playing piano at Bar Lucien in Tribeca for $150 a night, plus tips. I'd been doing it for 3 years, ever since I dropped out of Juilliard when my mom got sick. The cancer treatment cost $340,000. We had insurance that covered maybe half. The rest buried us. I sold my Yamaha Baby Grand, the one my dad bought me before he died, the last thing I had of his. That bought us 3 months. I took every gig I could find. Bar Lucien was the best one. Upscale enough that the tips were decent, not so fancy that they cared I was wearing the same black dress 4 nights a week. That Wednesday night, I was playing Debussy's Clair de Lune when a group came in. 6 people, all wearing watches that cost more than cars. I didn't pay much attention. Rich people came through Tribeca all the time. But then one of them, a guy in a charcoal Tom Ford suit, walked straight to the piano. "You're playing it wrong," he said. I kept playing. "I'm sorry?" "Measure 43. You're rushing the tempo. Debussy marked it più lento. Even slower. You're treating it like you're trying to get somewhere. The whole point is, you're already there." My hands stopped. I looked up at him. He was maybe 35, Asian, with the kind of face that belonged in a cologne ad. But his eyes, there was something cruel in them, something that enjoyed pointing out exactly where you fell short. "Thanks for the note," I said, ice in my voice. "I'll keep that in mind." "Do you even know what più lento means?" Something in me snapped. Maybe it was playing the same songs for trust fund kids who didn't listen. Maybe it was the $230 I still needed to make rent. Maybe it was 3 years of watching my dreams dissolve while people like him bought third vacation homes. It means more slowly. I know because I spent 4 years at Juilliard before real life happened. And I'm playing it this way because we're in a bar, not Carnegie Hall, and nobody here gives a damn about Debussy's tempo markings except, apparently, you. His friends had gone quiet. The whole bar had gone quiet. He smiled, not a nice smile. Juilliard dropout. That explains it. "Marcus," one of his friends said nervously. "Come on, man." But Marcus, I didn't know his last name yet, was reaching for his wallet. He pulled out a stack of hundreds. I counted them as he laid them on the piano. 20 of them. $2,000. "Play it correctly," he said. "Exactly as Debussy wrote it, if you can." It was a test, a humiliation. He was proving I couldn't, proving I was exactly what he'd called me, a dropout playing in a bar. I looked at that money. I thought about my mom's next treatment, about the notice from the utility company, about the protein bars I'd been eating for dinner to save money. I played it. I played it perfectly. Every tempo marking, every dynamic, every subtle shift Debussy had written. I played it like I was still at Juilliard, like I was still the girl who'd won the Rubinstein competition at 19, like I hadn't spent 3 years killing that girl piece by piece just to survive. When I finished, the bar erupted in applause. Marcus picked up his money and walked out. He came back the next night, alone this time. I was playing Satie when he sat down at the bar. He didn't approach the piano. Just ordered a whiskey and listened. When my set ended, He was waiting. "I'm sorry," he said. I stared at him. "What?" "Last night, that was cruel. I was showing off for my friends and I made you a performing monkey. It was beneath both of us." I didn't know what to say. Rich men didn't apologize to bar pianists. "I'm Marcus Chen," he continued. "I run a venture capital firm called Apex Holdings. You might have—" "I know who you are." Everyone knew who Marcus Chen was. The boy genius who'd made his first billion at 26, the tech investor with the Midas touch, the billionaire who'd bought a Basquiat at auction for $110 million just because he could. "Then you know I don't apologize often, but I'm apologizing now." He paused. "What's your name?" "Sophie. Castellano." "Sophie, I have a proposition for you." Of course he did. Here it came. The offer to play at some private party for his wealthy friends, or worse. I started to walk away. "I'll pay you $50,000, he said. I stopped. "I need a pianist, someone classically trained, someone brilliant. I need them for 3 months, possibly 4. You'll play 6 hours a day, 7 days a week, at my penthouse. The repertoire is specific. Romantic era, primarily Chopin, some Debussy, some Brahms. I'll provide the complete list." $50,000? My voice sounded strange. "I'll pay half up front, $25,000 tomorrow if you sign the contract. The other half when the contract ends." $25,000, enough to pay off 2 months of my mom's treatment debt. Enough to breathe. "Why me?" "Because last night you played like someone who understands that music isn't just notes. It's the space between them, the weight of silence. I need someone who understands that." "What's the catch?" He smiled. Still not a nice smile. "The catch is you'll be playing for someone who won't thank you, who won't even know you're there. My father. He has advanced Alzheimer's. Music is one of the only things that still reaches him." A lie. I know that now, but I didn't know it then. "I need to think about it," I said. "You have until tomorrow. 9 a.m., my office at 450 Park Avenue, 42nd floor. If you're not there, I'll find someone else." He left his card and walked out. I looked at the card, looked at the bar, at the piano, at my life, at the text from my mom's oncologist about scheduling next month's treatment. The next morning, I was at 450 Park Avenue at 8:45 a.m. The contract was 37 pages long. I should have read it more carefully. But the lawyer kept pointing to the payment schedule. $25,000 in my account within 2 hours of signing, and my brain kept catching on that number like a hook. There were clauses about confidentiality, about termination, about standard legal boilerplate I didn't understand. On page 29, there was something about beneficiary designation in the event of incapacitation or death that the lawyer glossed over quickly. "Just standard estate planning language," he said. "Mr. Chen wants to ensure continuity of care for his father regardless of circumstances." I signed. The money hit my account before noon. I paid off 3 months of my mom's treatment debt and cried in a bathroom stall at Chase Bank. Marcus's penthouse occupied the entire 47th floor of a building on Fifth Avenue, directly across from Central Park. The elevator opened directly into his foyer. No hallway, no neighbors. Just a private entrance into 12,000 square feet of what Architectural Digest would later call one of Manhattan's most significant residences. The piano was in what he called the music room, a space larger than my entire apartment with acoustics designed by the same firm that did Carnegie Hall. The Steinway Model D concert grand was worth $175,000. I looked it up later. "This is where you'll play," Marcus said. 6 hours a day, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 1 hour break for lunch. The rotation is posted. You'll see the repertoire changes daily but follows patterns. "Where's your father?" "He rests during the day. You'll play whether he's in the room or not. The sound carries through the penthouse. It's therapeutic." Something felt wrong. But $25,000 sat in my bank account and I needed the other $25,000 desperately. For the first week, I never saw the father. I played to an empty room, Chopin's Nocturne, Debussy's Suite Bergamasque, Brahms's Intermezzos. Beautiful pieces, technically demanding but emotionally rich. The kind of music that required you to feel, not just perform. Marcus would come in sometimes, sit in the corner, listen without speaking, then leave. On the 8th day, he stayed. "You're getting the Chopin wrong," he said. "Here we go again," I thought. "How so?" "You're playing it too perfectly. Every note exactly right, every tempo marking followed precisely. But Chopin wasn't about perfection. He was about yearning, about wanting something you can't have. And you know what Chopin wanted? I know what everyone wants. Connection, significance, someone to remember them when they're gone." He stood up. "Play it like you're playing for someone you love who's dying. Someone you'd give anything to reach one more time." My hands froze over the keys. "Your mother," he said quietly. "The cancer. I know everything about you, Sophie. That's why you're here." "What are you talking about?" Marcus walked to the window. 47 stories below, Central Park was a green wound in the concrete. "There is no father with Alzheimer's," he said. "There never was." The room tilted. "Then why?" "I'm sick. I have a condition called progressive aphasic dementia." "Do you know what that is?" I shook my head. "It's a rare neurological disorder. It destroys language first, your ability to speak, to understand speech. Then it takes memory, executive function, eventually everything. Within 6 months, I'll be completely nonverbal. Within a year, I'll need full-time care. Within 2, I'll be a body in a bed. I don't understand. You seem fine. I am fine. Right now, I have maybe 4 good months left. Maybe 6 if I'm lucky. The neurologists can't be more specific." He turned to face me. "Do you know what the worst part is?" I couldn't speak. "I'll still be in there, locked in, aware but unable to communicate, unable to show that I'm still me." His voice cracked. "Music is the last thing to go. The brain holds on to it longer than language, longer than faces, longer than names. I'm told that even when I can't recognize my own face in a mirror, I might still respond to music. Why didn't you just tell me? Would you have come? If I'd told you the truth, that you were playing for a dying billionaire, not his father, it sounds like something from a movie. You would have thought it was a scam." He was right. I would have. "I need you to learn my musical memory," he said. "The pieces I love, the ones that made me feel human. So that when I'm gone, when I'm trapped in the dark and can't find my way back, maybe Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat will be the rope that pulls me home. Marcus, I'm not asking for pity. I'm paying you fairly. $50,000 for 4 months. But I need you to know why this matters. Why I was cruel to you that first night." He laughed bitterly. "I was testing whether you'd fight back, whether you had the spine to tell me I was wrong. Because I needed someone who wouldn't treat me like I'm already dead. I should have left, should have torn up the contract and run. But I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw someone who was 35 years old and worth $4 billion and dying anyway." "Okay," I said, "teach me what you love." We fell into a rhythm. Every morning I'd play for 6 hours. But now Marcus was there, listening, teaching me not just the notes but the feeling behind them, the memories. This nocturne, I played it the night I closed my first billion-dollar deal. I was alone in my office at 3 a.m., and I played it on my phone and cried because I realized the money didn't mean anything. This Debussy piece, my mother played it before she died. I was 14. She made me promise I'd never let money make me cruel. I broke that promise every day. He told me about his childhood, immigrant parents who'd worked themselves to death so he could go to MIT. About building his company from nothing, about the ruthlessness required to make billions in tech, about the loneliness at the top. "I have acquaintances," he said one day. "No friends. I pushed everyone away. Thought I had time to fix it later. Turned out I didn't." His symptoms were subtle at first. He'd pause mid-sentence, searching for a word. Call me by the wrong name, then correct himself. Forget he'd already told me a story. Then they got worse. By month 3, he needed notes to remember the daily schedule. By month 4, he'd forgotten our first meeting, the cruelty at the bar, the test with the money. I had to tell him the story. "I did that?" He looked horrified. "Sophie, I know, you apologized. We moved past it." But every day, a little more of him disappeared. His lawyer, Michael Brennan, came by in month 3, asked to speak with me privately. "Mr. Chen has made arrangements," he said. "If his condition deteriorates to the point where he can no longer make decisions, if he becomes fully non-responsive, you're named as primary beneficiary." What does that mean? It means you inherit everything. The estate, the companies, the assets. $4.2 billion, current valuation. The room spun. That's insane. Why would he? He's made several video recordings explaining his reasoning. But, in summary, he believes you're the only person who sees him as human rather than a bank account. He trusts you to use the resources to help others the way you've helped your mother. I can't accept that. Mr. Chen anticipated you'd say that, which is why there's a stipulation. You must accept the inheritance, hold it for a minimum of 5 years, and use the proceeds to fund medical treatment for families who can't afford care. He's left detailed instructions. If you refuse, the estate goes to his board of directors, who will liquidate it for personal gain. A trap. A beautiful trap. He'd designed it so I couldn't say no without hurting thousands of people. "He's trapped me," I said. "He's freed you," Brennan replied. "Both of you." Month 4, day 22. Marcus collapsed. I'd been playing Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat, his favorite, when I heard a crash behind me. He'd fallen, seizing. I called 911, held him, begged him to stay with me. At Mount Sinai, they stabilized him, induced a medical coma to prevent brain damage from the seizures. "His condition has accelerated," the neurologist said. "The coma is protecting him. But when we wake him up, if we wake him up, he may not be the same person." What are my options? You're his medical proxy. You decide. Another trap. Another impossible choice. I brought them a recording I'd made, me playing the Nocturne. "Try this, see if his brain responds." They were skeptical. But they played it. Marcus's brain activity spiked. Not consciousness, but something. Recognition at a neurological level. "It's like he's trying to reach the surface," the neurologist said, amazed. "The music is calling him." They transferred him to the penthouse, his wishes, his advanced directives, set up a full ICU in his bedroom, and I played. 6 hours became 8, became 10, became however long it took. I played the Nocturne until my hands cramped, until my back screamed, until I couldn't tell if I was playing for him or for me. His brain activity would spike, then fade. Spike, then fade. Like he was swimming toward the sound but couldn't break through. On day 6, Michael Brennan pulled me aside. "If he doesn't regain consciousness in the next 48 hours, he's gone. The medical team will have to make a decision about life support." "No. Sophie." I said no. "We're not giving up on him. If he dies, you inherit everything." "I don't want his money," I was screaming. "I want him to wake up. I want him to tell me I'm playing the Chopin wrong. I want him to have a chance." Brennan put a hand on my shoulder. "Then keep playing." Day 7, hour 13. My hands were bleeding, broken blisters, raw skin. I'd wrapped them in gauze but kept playing. The Nocturne. Over and over. The same piece that had meant everything to him. His brain activity was fading. The doctors were preparing the conversation about ending life support. I played anyway, and then a spike, bigger than before. His hand moved. "Marcus?" I stopped playing. "Marcus, can you hear me?" His eyes opened, unfocused, searching. His mouth moved. No sound. I played again, just a few bars. His eyes found mine. S. Soph. The word was broken, barely there, but it was there. "I'm here. I'm right here." He tried to speak. Couldn't. The aphasia had taken his words. But his hand. He reached for mine. I took it. He squeezed. The doctors rushed in, started assessments. He was awake but trapped, aware, present, but unable to communicate beyond basic gestures and facial expressions. "This is remarkable," the lead neurologist said. "His response to the music pulled him out. But the damage, the language centers are gone. He may never speak again." I looked at Marcus, at the frustration in his eyes, the terror of being locked inside himself. "Can he understand us?" I asked. "We believe so. The receptive language areas seem less affected." I turned to Marcus. "Squeeze once for yes, twice for no. Do you understand?" One squeeze. "Are you in pain?" Two squeezes. "Are you scared?" A long pause, then one squeeze. Hard. I pulled a chair to his bedside. "I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together." The next 6 weeks were impossible. Marcus was awake but trapped. He could understand everything, could nod yes or no, could use a tablet with pictures to communicate basic needs. But the complexity of thought, the nuance of language, it was gone. His board of directors started circling. They wanted to declare him incompetent, take over the company, liquidate his assets. Michael Brennan fought them off, but barely. "They'll win eventually," he told me, "unless Marcus can demonstrate decision-making capacity. And he can't. Not without language. I spent every day with him, playing music, reading to him, watching his favorite movies, trying to give him windows to the world. One afternoon, I found him crying silently, staring at his reflection in the window. "Hey," I said softly. "What's wrong?" He pointed at himself, then at his tablet. Scrolled through pictures until he found one. A photo of him from 2 years ago wearing a tuxedo, giving a speech. Young, powerful, articulate. Then he pointed at his current reflection. The shell. The prison. "You're still you," I said. "The important parts are still there." He shook his head, gestured at the room. The penthouse, the luxury, the money. Then crossed his arms. Made an X. "You think none of this matters?" One squeeze. "Yes." "You're right. It doesn't. But you know what does?" I pulled out my phone. Showed him photos of families I'd been researching. People drowning in medical debt. Kids who couldn't afford treatment. Parents choosing between food and medicine. "You're going to help them. We both are." He stared at the photos. Then at me. His eyes asked the question he couldn't speak. "How?" "Your contingency plan. The foundation. We're starting it now. Not after you die. Now. While you can still be part of it." I pulled up the documents Brennan had prepared. "We create a medical fund. $1 billion to start. It pays for treatment for families who can't afford it. Cancer, rare diseases, experimental procedures, all of it. And you help decide who gets it. You still have that. The ability to choose who to help." He took the tablet, scrolled through the document slowly, painfully. His face, I watched something change there. Purpose, hope. The first time I'd seen it since he woke up. One squeeze. Yes. We launched the Chen Medical Foundation 3 weeks later. The press conference was brutal. Marcus in a wheelchair, unable to speak, communicating through a tablet while I read his prepared statement. "Marcus Chen has courageously chosen to fight his condition publicly," I read, my voice shaking. Despite being unable to speak, he remains committed to using his resources to help families facing medical crises. The Chen Medical Foundation will distribute $1 billion over the next 5 years to provide treatment access regardless of ability to pay. The media called it a publicity stunt. His board called it proof of incompetence. His former friends whispered that I was manipulating him, stealing his fortune. I didn't care. Neither did he. Every morning we'd review applications, families desperate for help. He'd read each story carefully on his tablet, then point a thumbs up or thumbs down. Approve or deny. He never denied anyone, not once. Every family got help. "You're going to run out of money," I told him after month 3. He smiled. That was new, the smiling. Pointed at his tablet. Typed slowly, "Good. That's the point." 6 months after Marcus woke up, the foundation had helped 300 families. The $1 billion was running out fast, but the impact was undeniable. Parents sobbing with relief. Kids getting treatment. Families lifted from crushing debt. Marcus was fading. The disease was progressing. His motor control weakening. His consciousness more fragile. Good days and bad days, with more bad days than good. On a Tuesday morning in November, he couldn't get out of bed. The doctors said it was time to discuss hospice care. I brought the piano to him. Not the Steinway, that was too big, but a digital keyboard that I set up by his bedside. "One more time?" I asked. He nodded. I played the nocturne. The piece that had connected us, saved him, defined us. And I watched his face as the music filled the room. His eyes closed. His breathing slowed. For those 4 minutes, he was free. Not locked in his body, not trapped by disease. Just Marcus, floating in the space between notes. When I finished, he opened his eyes, reached for his tablet, typed for a long time, then turned it toward me. "Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible, for fighting for me when I couldn't fight. For teaching me that money can't buy meaning, but it can buy mercy. Below it, I'm ready now. Don't be sad. This was more than I deserved." "Marcus," he shook his head, typed again. "Promise me you'll keep going. Help them. All of them. Be the person I should have been." "I promise." He died 3 days later, holding my hand, with Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat playing softly in the background. I'm standing in a $47 million penthouse on the Upper East Side, but it doesn't look like it did. The music room is now an office. The master bedroom is now a conference room. The living room is filled with caseworkers and medical coordinators and families waiting for help. The Chen Medical Foundation has helped over 40,000 families. We burned through Marcus's fortune in 3 years. All $4 billion distributed to people who needed it more than anyone needed private jets or penthouse apartments. The building? I sold it. Kept 1 floor for the foundation offices, sold the rest, used the money to keep helping people. My mom is 5 years cancer-free. She volunteers at the foundation 3 days a week, reviewing applications. I still play piano. Every morning, for an hour, I play the Nocturne in E-flat. Not for Marcus, he doesn't need it anymore. For me, to remember what he taught me. That wealth means nothing if you hoard it. That being seen is more valuable than being rich. That the space between notes, the silence, the yearning, is where we find our humanity. People ask me sometimes if I miss the money, if I regret giving away billions. I tell them about the 7-year-old girl in Tennessee who got the brain surgery that saved her life. About the father in Ohio who didn't have to choose between his daughter's leukemia treatment and losing his house. About the mother in Arizona who cried for an hour when we told her we'd cover her son's rare disease medication. Marcus Chen died at 36 years old. He was cruel, he was lonely, he was lost. But in the end, he figured out what the money was for. It was for the music, the connection, the rope that pulls us home when we're trapped in the dark. I keep playing that rope every single day. For him. For everyone who's still swimming toward the surface. for the space between notes where we finally learn to be human.